I want to talk about Android 13 and some of the hype and some of the issues surrounding it here since it's just come out a couple of days ago. So I have Android 13 on all my Pixel 6 devices, Pixel 6, 6a, 6 Pro. Yes, I got a lot of Pixel 6 phones here. One of the biggest things, or actually two things, that have been going around, circulating around the news circuit, the rumor mill, and the online posts, people talking about heat and battery drain. And those are two things that I think are not that big of a deal. And this is not a thing where it's like trying to run cover from Google. This is a thing where I've had a lot of experience with these phones, and I wanted to share this with you, at least with my personal experience and my thoughts on it. Because here's the thing. If y'all remember back to when the Pixel 6 first came out, when you first got your Pixel 6, you took it out of the box, you fired it up, you were so happy and excited, and then it was getting really hot for like the first day or two. And the first couple of days, like, hey, my battery life is not good. And then you started checking the online forums, you started watching videos, posting, saying, hey, my battery life's not as good as I thought it should be. And then after a week, all that stuff cleared up. Well, that's most people's experience. That's the experience that I've had echoed from a lot of viewers' comments, and that's been my personal experience. Here's the thing. When you get a new operating system update, it changes things fundamentally on the back end. Even though there's not a lot visually that's changed from the Pixel 6 with Android 12 to Android 13, that's because there's not. It's mostly about smoothness, about performance, about optimization, about the tensor chip, and things like that. Some people might not be experiencing that big of an issue. See, there are different variations of update patterns. Like there's a lot of roads that lead to Android 13. For instance, when they dropped Android 13, some people needed a 2 gigabyte Android 12 update to get their phone brought up to speed to even get Android 13. 2 gigabytes, that's a lot of substantial changes. So there's also people who were in the Android 13 beta who needed less than a 50 megabyte update patch to get to the official release. And then there's also people who only needed moderate file updates, maybe a gigabyte. So the more files that get changed, the more stuff that gets changed on the back end, the more substantially that alters your experience on the back end and what your phone has to go through to get everything back to a position of homeostasis, balancing everything so that way that your phone will run optimally. That means learning your patterns, what it knows to turn on and off, and adaptive connectivity. There's just so many different things. There's so many things with the word adaptive in the Android experience that it has to learn. And once it gets all that stuff down, which takes about 5 days, then the heat goes away and the experience is better and your battery life is more optimized. And it was troubling for me. As soon as Android 13 popped up, within 2 days, I already started seeing people talking about it, seeing articles saying my battery's not good, and I'm having some heat-related issues. And not overheating, just the phone was getting warm. And I thought immediately, this goes back to when the phone first came out. This is the first big operating system update since the phone came out. So it's not troubling to me to hear things like that. But as an end user, it might be something that's concerning because there have been so many optimizations, so many tweaks, so many fixes on the Pixel 6 experience throughout the life cycle of the Pixel phones. So they were pretty well optimized on Android 12 by the time we got to this summer. It had fixed a lot of those things. We had the standby issues that were starting to get better. We had the battery drain, the network drain. There's just a lot of different things that were moving towards a better place. And then Android 13 beta fixed a lot of that stuff. But when you've got folks who had a substantial update on their phone, and this is particularly for the Pixel 6a users, and I think some of the Pixel 6a folks might be experiencing more of this than the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. Why? Because when the Pixel 6a launched, it had an April update. So if you had just got an April update, you just got your phone, you might not have even gotten the June update yet. There was no July update for the Pixel 6a. There was a bigger jump to get to Android 13, which means more changes, more stuff on the back end, more substantial updates with Android 13. So my thought process on this, and I could be wrong, but a lot of people that have had these concerns, a lot of them kind of went away in the first 48, 72 hours. So my expectation is you have it, you set it up, you use it for a week, and then it should be pretty good. And then you should be able to have your better battery life. You shouldn't be having the heat-related issues like you did when it first came up. Think about this. There are a lot of updates that go in it whenever you get a new operating system update. It's not just the operating system, it's the software. Yes, it's the software for your apps and stuff like that too. So you get Android 13 and then it's like, you got to update this file, update this file, update this file. A lot of that stuff is done automatically because people have automatic updates on for their apps. So within the first day or two, you're going to have a lot of stuff going on in the background you might not even realize is happening. But of course, you also want to use it. You're using it more because it's more exciting. You've got the new version. You want to test out all the cool new tricks and things like that. So I would just caution everybody, if you're concerned about it, if you just got the update, give it about 5 days, and I am almost certain that most of that will go away. And I'm sure there still will be onesies and twosies who say, well, my phone's still overheating, I'm still having battery issues. That's a consistency that you get across a lot of different phones. People say that about Samsungs, they say that about Apples, they say that about everything. There is no phone that's ever you're not going to have two people's phones that are ever going to run 100% exactly the same way. There's always tolerance differences. I don't know if you know this or not, but there are different tolerances in each chip. Each processor that is made is slightly different than each one, and there are different grades, and they come from different plants even sometimes. So that's just kind of a gee whiz thing. I don't think it's the end of the world. My phones have been okay. I haven't been having this issue personally myself, but I know that it can be troubling. I know it's something that can worry folks, especially if you dealt with problems in the beginning. Yes, I call it Pixel Stress Traumatic Disorder. If you had problems with your Pixel in the beginning, it primes your brain and you think that, okay, well, now I'm going to have another problem. Well, I've got an update. Now I'm going to have another problem. I even cautioned some folks when Android 13 came out. I said, if you're overly cautious about this, if you're worried, give it a couple of weeks and let things get ironed out before you update, just to make sure that you don't have any problems, because sometimes when a new version comes out, there can be some issues that might need to be tweaked or optimized that might get caught up on that first patch, which I'm expecting the first week of September. So first week of September, we should have a maintenance patch, kind of a couple different updates and fixes, and then the new security patch. But by and large, I think it's a pretty safe experience. I think it's probably going to be all right. And I think that any heat or battery related issues will go away. There's also one thing I want to talk about regarding wireless charging. Some people have reported that wireless charging has not been working properly after the Android 13 update. My hope is we'll see a maintenance update on that first week of September. There's no getting around that, unfortunately. If you have that issue, I think a small minority of people have been having it. I've had a lot of folks in the comments say, I'm not having that problem, I'm not having that problem, overwhelmingly more than the ones that say they have. And thankfully, you can still charge it with a wire. You can still plug it in, so that's good. And another one, there seems to be some haptic feedback stuff on certain devices like my Pixel 6 Pro. When it comes to Android 13, does have some intensity issues with the vibration on the haptic motor, especially whenever typing quickly. It seems almost like a double vibration press, as some people have described it. It irks me. You can turn off the haptic feedback for that, which is fine. I don't think you should have to do that. I'd like it to be fixed. I'm hoping to see something addressed on that, but also that's not everybody. That's just seems to be a small minority of people. And then some people also noted that there were issues with the fingerprint sensor, particularly on the 6A when updating to Android 13. So I think also that's probably something that we'll see with an update once the September patch gets here. Again, I don't think that's affecting a lot of people, but it could be troubling if you find out that, hey, your fingerprint sensor was working fine and then it has a problem. This is nothing new. When it comes to Pixel phones, it seems like there's always something. Every time there's an update, there's always a select few folks who end up having a problem or two. I get that. I understand that. I try to offer some support and help on that, and just a little bit of comfort to let you know it's okay. But at the same point in time, it is very frustrating that Google, they still can't, they can't ever get everything 100%. It's always like 99.7%. I get that. I understand. It's very frustrating. It's frustrating for me dealing with the haptic feedback issues on my Pixel 6 Pro. I'm in the same boat. We'll just keep identifying it. We'll raise it up the ladder, and hopefully we'll get some fixes as this comes, because definitely they're making a lot of moves, a lot of updates, a lot of things they're trying to get ready for the Pixel 7, which is right down the corner. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have the best experience possible with our Pixel 6s. So that was it. Really just wanted to talk about those few things. I really wanted to talk about the battery and the heat. And I think probably after people see this, and probably a couple days down the road, we won't be having this conversation anymore. I think largely it's going to go away on its own, just because the way the Tensor works, the way Google works, the way that Android 13 works with the software optimization and the adaptation for how you use your phone. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, if you have any feedback, if you have any experience that kind of echoes this, please, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.